rise and to welcome the Honorable Governor of Meghalaya, Shri Bharat in our midst this morning. I request all present to kindly remain standing for the national anthem. Can we have a round of applause, please?
It may be recalled that Prime Minister had launched Viksit Bharat at 2047 Voice of Youth via video conferencing, wherein during the program, Prime Minister Modi addressed the Vice Chancellors of universities, head of institutes, and faculty members in workshops organized at Rajbhavans across the country to mark the beginning of this initiative. Prime Minister Modi during his speech highlighted the role of educational institutions in the personality development of an individual and said that a nation becomes developed only with the development of its people. Underlining the importance of personality development in the present era, the Prime Minister extended his wishes for the success of the Voice of Youth workshop. Also, the Prime Minister underlined that the roadmap of progress will not be decided by the government alone, but by the nation. Every citizen of the country will have input and active participation in it, Shri Modi said, pointing out that even the biggest resolutions can be accomplished by the mantra of Sabka Prayas, that is, public participation.
दल के मेरे सहयोगी धर्मेंद्र प्रधान जी, देश भर से हमारे साथ जुड़े राज्यपाल श्री, शिक्षा जगत के महानुभाव, देवी और सज्जनों, आज विकसित भारत के संकल्पों को लेकर बहुत ही अहम दिन है। मैं सभी गवर्नर्स को विशेष बधाई दूंगा कि उन्होंने विकसित भारत के निर्माण से जुड़ी इस वर्कशॉप का आयोजन किया है। देश की युवा शक्ति को दिशा देने का दायित्व जिन साथियों पर है, उनको आप एक मंच पर लाए। शिक्षण संस्थानों की भूमिका व्यक्ति निर्माण की होती है और व्यक्ति निर्माण से ही राष्ट्र निर्माण होता है। और आज जिस कालखंड में भारत है, उसमें व्यक्ति निर्माण का अभियान बहुत ज्यादा अहम हो गया है। मैं आप सभी को वॉइस ऑफ यूथ वर्कशॉप की सफलता के लिए अग्रिम शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। साथियों, हर देश को इतिहास एक ऐसा कालखंड देता है जब वो अपनी विकास यात्रा को कई गुना आगे बढ़ा लेता है। ये एक तरह से उस देश का अमृतकाल होता है। भारत के लिए ये अमृतकाल इसी समय आया है। ये भारत के इतिहास का वो कालखंड है जब देश एक क्वांटम जंप लगाने जा रहा है। हमारे इर्द गिर्द ही ऐसे अनेक देशों के उदाहरण हैं जिन्होंने एक तय समय में ऐसा ही क्वांटम जंप लेकर खुद को विकसित बना लिया। इसलिए ही मैं कहता हूं, भारत के लिए भी यही समय है, सही समय है। हमें इस अमृत काल के पल पल का लाभ उठाना है। हमें एक भी पल गंवाना नहीं। साथियों, हम सभी के सामने प्रेरणा के लिए आजादी का हमारा लंबा संघर्ष भी है। जब हम एक ध्येय के साथ, एक जोश, एक जज्बे के साथ आजादी को अंतिम लक्ष्य मानकर मैदान में उतरे, तब हमें सफलता मिली। इस दौरान सत्याग्रह हो, क्रांति का रास्ता हो, स्वदेशी को लेकर जागरूकता हो, सामाजिक और शैक्षिक सुधार की चेतना हो, ये सारी धाराएं एक साथ मिलकर आजादी के आंदोलन की ताकत बन गई।
As a coordinator, our responsibility would be to drive the entire conversation toward collectively brainstorming the ideas and thoughts, and that we can churn out into the best plans and strategy on the subject that we have been given, the Viksit Bharat at 2047. By the end, we will be navigating the discussion towards a unified statement from each of the group that shall be a summary of all the ideas that you guys have proposed and we have discussed. We shall ensure that everybody gets to contribute their perspectives and their ideas, and as we all agree that time is of essence, that we shall be timekeepers as well, and we shall be capturing your thoughts into our notes throughout the entire discussion. So please accept our sincere gratitudes that we have been fortunate to witness this intellectual and diverse viewpoints and opinions from all of you today. And lastly, by the end of this mind-storming session, when the session concludes, we both shall reiterate a summary of the statements that we have discussed during the entire discussion part. And that statement we would like to be confirmed by you, so that we will be able to capture it in our presentation. So, I would like.
This discussion will be for 15 minutes. After that, conclude with the statement. Then you all give us the statement.
Institutional leadership. This is the institutional leadership that we have.
So we can say group A.
Yes.
Yeah,
This
group
is-
1A.
This is
And yeah,
we can
group
say this is group 1A.
Yeah.
So we should know our topic.
Yeah, this is empowered Indian.
Group
Empowered Indian is the theme.
Empower.
Empowered Indian. So there are two themes: empowered Indian
Empowered.
and
Thriving and sustainable India.
yes,
Sorry.
thriving and sustainable
So our
India.
is your empowered India.
Group B goes
Yeah.
there.
Yes, group B
Yes.
goes there. But I will quickly explain the points we would be discussing around is from institutional leadership, from your perspective, how do we see, what do we need in order to achieve the goals that we have set for Viksit Bharat 2047? What plans that we have, we can suggest that we can put into implementation in order to achieve the same goals in 25 years of time. So we will be discussing about ideas and plans that that you guys suggest, the institutional leadership suggests, in order to realize the goal that we have set for 2047. And at the same time, what expectation do you have from faculties, teachers as well as students? What role they should be playing and how we should develop a social infrastructure and especially an educational infrastructure in order to empower them, so that we can have an empowered India, empowered nation. At the same time, we can have a thriving and sustainable economy and country.
But one thing is very important. We need to understand the concept is very global. again and again I have been emphasizing almost on all the platforms that although the concept is very global, we need to think locally. For example, if we are talking about autonomous status of the colleges here, I'm talking here since we are talking with respect to the grassroots level problems. So when we are talking about an HEI, the number should be 3,000 if I'm not mistaken. And if speaking about that, how many colleges in and around Meghalaya have that number to cater to? And we are having many institutions here which does not have that number. So those are the problems which we need to look upon and make sure that we are addressing those issues locally. Because thinking globally, yes, wonderful it is. But when it comes to the problem solving, I think we really need to think about it.
On the psychology of the student, we should focus on changing the psychology of student, not to move, not to leave their own culture. Like in last week, a lot of vice chancellors are present in that vice chancellor meet of AIU, Bharatiya Shiksha Parampara. We should move back to that and preserve our culture and bring to the nation, bring to the entire world that how our culture is effective for the development of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
One of the things that came up in our discussion here was making our resources equitable and available to all people everywhere, whether it's urban or rural areas. Empowerment comes with making data accessible, and so that was one thing that we pointed out here. Making sure that every Indian has resources accessible, at their reach. So whether they are staying in a village or in a city, the resources should be available equitably, right? Whether it's gender-wise, whether it is in terms of economic status, they should all be empowered with data that's available to us. Yeah.
Under the guidance of our Honorable Prime Minister, so this is one of the what you call it is started at present in a boasting manner all over the country. So देश को विकास करना है and सब देशवासी को ऊपर ये जागरण करना है जे हम और कितना हमारा देश को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं. So it is coming as a in a great way. It is only because of the teachers, the education system, teaching. We have to teach those people what to do, what not to do, how they can go prospectively in the future. Particularly the students, I will tell them, I will just convey them to the message, go for the research work. Go for the research work because the country has got so much of potential for the research. So in that way, research in science, in arts, any stream, right? And particularly if you see that how they are going to develop their skill, then different small scale industry, right? Horticultures. So they used to develop in the villages. You will go there. Ample of people are there. Those who are sitting idly. So we have to motivate them. Do something. Come out. Earn money. Develop the nation. That's all. Thank you very much. I am Professor Shubhaman Chakraborty, Dean in charge, NEGRIMS, and head of the Department of ENT and Head and Neck Surgery, NEGRIMS. Okay,
so today we had an excellent opportunity to interact with the thought leaders and institutional leaders of a higher educational institute from all across the region here at Rajbhavan. We discussed on so many important agendas, on so many important points that were around the empowered India and thriving and a sustainable Indian economy and Indian society, especially in reference approaches to education and educational policies. So we discussed that how younger generations should be trained for skills that are in demand, hard skills and soft skills. They should be taught how they can think, and they should not be told what they are supposed to think about. The teachers suggested, the leaders suggested that we should promote creative entrepreneurship so that students do not become job seekers, but they become job creators as well.
Deliberated on two aspects. The first aspect had to do with that in the year 2047, by the time we reach there, what is it that we need to do to be able to ensure that each and every citizen across the country feels empowered. And the other aspect which we discussed was how do we create a thriving economy which is also sustainable. So across the three stakeholder groups, we engaged in a discussion. And with the kind of statements which were agreed upon by each of the groups, so we subdivided ourselves into multiple groups, and each of the groups came up with a statement of their own, basis the discussion which they did. And basis those statements, this is the word cloud, and this is some computer-assisted analysis which does, and what is most notable here is equality, quality, and development as the most prominent word, three words, which says that if we've got to see India as developed nation in 2047, these are the three major efforts which we've got to make to ensure that there is quality, there is equality in the center, and then quality, and of course that needs to bring about the necessary development. So while this is the word cloud comprising of all the statements which we agreed upon, then we have the inputs from the students, the youngest of the group, and the ones who are going to occupy positions of significance around the year 2047. This is something which they have to resolve, saying that it is possible to have a thriving and sustainable economy. Such beautiful, innovative suggestions which came from them, saying that why can't we have tourism which is just around, catered and addresses to tourists who are interested in learning about culture and farming. Get them, and we only, which is also going to prevent. So these are the kind of statements which came from the student groups. And this was a group of more than 100 students who were working together on different tables.
Government is working hard on infrastructure development. When it comes to road, transport, railways, etc., they are well on track to having a set plan for development, and it's getting executed well. However, the educational infrastructure development needs to be sped up and also needs to be done at a digital level as well, not just the physical infrastructure. So that was discussed in detail. Apart from that, the dependency on Western nations that comes up in the activities that India takes up, that is something that needs to be reduced significantly, is what was discussed. How there is a wealth of knowledge in our own land, and how we need to have local technology developed in a way that the other countries have to depend on us for that technology. They cannot function without the technology that we develop. That is where the development and focus needs to be now. And more importantly, it was discussed that along with the focus on sustainability, the next important thing that needs to be done is that there is a lot of indigenous knowledge that is rooted in our country. Even in the Northeast, there is a lot of information, lot of languages, lot of practices that have been done for centuries that just work. And those practices are not only documented, but they aren't even implemented, and there is a lot of focus on modernization on the other hand. So a balance on this is required on how the indigenous knowledge can be brought to the forefront and how the youth can be trained accordingly. So in such a manner, across groups, the faculty, I think, came up with brilliant ideas on what the youth can focus on in the future. Thank you.
My personal belief is that it all starts with the mindset of every citizen of this nation. I think it is important to realize that no matter how many challenges you will face as an individual, and we will face as a country, we must have a positive mindset to move forward in that goal and direction that we want. When I say mindset, there are many things in the mindset. For me, I don't believe that we need to follow the mindset and the roadmap that has been laid down by other countries. I don't believe that at all. What is developed for UK and for US, what is developed for Japan and the European nations may not be developed for us. Why is it necessary that we have to follow what the Europeans do? A lot of people talk about good wine. I love this example. And for some reason the Europeans have always said, well, wine is only made out of grapes. But there are 40 to 50 more different fruits that can be made into beautiful wine, which is the way we like to do it. So, a bad example, of course, but giving you an idea of what I'm trying to say, that it's not necessary that we have to follow the footsteps that others have put forward. We will do what is correct for us. We will do what's correct for our states. We will do what's correct for our children. Yes, we will choose some of the points that we see is good and which is applicable to us and adapt that and implement that. So I think first thing, the mindset should not be about copying what others do. Let us do what is meaningful for us. What is important is at the end, our citizens need to be happy. We don't need to be looking at a demand-driven economy all the time. I don't believe in that. Though of course, GDP is about demand and about growth and consumption. But if you talk about sustainability, then consumption is one of the most difficult aspects of sustainability. How much do you desire? Can we have the same kind of per capita consumption of power which is in the US, in India? With more than 1.4 billion people out here? We can't. We cannot have every house having an air conditioner. So do we need it? How do we adapt to what is required for us? Look at a sustainable and a happy and, as I said, a satisfied India. I think it's more important to look at these aspects. Sometimes we get so pushed by certain numbers and by certain way that things are in some other nation. What our forefathers used to do is the knowledge that maybe we need to look back because it worked at that point in time. So I won't go much into this, but there's a lot I want to say, but I will cut short. But I think it starts with the correct mindset. So I'm not saying that we need to not look at a $5 trillion economy or other things. I'm not saying that. It is important. But I'm saying it should not be the only factor that drives us to be able to be developed in the long run. I don't think that is the correct mindset. As I said, the mindset, what is important is that we should be happy. It should be a happy nation. It should be a satisfied nation. And it should not be necessarily always a demand-driven nation. And when I come from mindset, I would like to also say that it ultimately will be, foundation and will be tied down to values. We want responsible and patriotic and good citizens at the end of the day. It's not that everybody has to be a billionaire or a millionaire. That's not the mindset that we want to go with. That's not the value that we want to go with. At the end of the day, we would want our youth, which, as we all agree, is going to be the most important part of this entire journey of bringing India to be a developed nation.
आज मेघालय राजभवन के ऐतिहासिक दरबार हाल में मैं आप लोगों के बीच उपस्थित होकर मुझे बेहतर खुशी हो रही है। जैसा कि आप सभी को मालूम है कि हमारे भारत के यशस्वी एवं दूरदर्शी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के ने जो आज़ादी के शताब्दी वर्ष 2045 तक भारत को एक विकसित देश बनाने का संकल्प लिया है, इसके हम अमृत काल के दौरान इस लक्ष्य को पाने की योजना बनाने के लिए उपस्थित नीति आयोग के मार्गदर्शक में देश के सभी राजभवनों में आप सभी को एक साथ कार्यशाला का आयोजन किया है। जैसा कि आप सभी महानुभावों के अनुभव हमारे सभी माननीय मंत्री जी के विजनरी उद्बोधन में सुना है कि वो किसी प्रकार के विश्वगुरु इस हमारे देश के भारत की ज्ञान विज्ञान तकनीकी तथा इग्निशन के दूरदर्शी विजन के माध्यम से विश्व के प्रभावशाली विकसित राष्ट्रों की श्रेणी में अग्रणी बनना चाहते हैं। प्रधानमंत्री जी के विकसित भारत को इस संकल्प को पूरा करने की दिशा में आप सभी को मिलकर पिछले सत्र में एक विजनरी और प्रभावशाली कार्यक्रम आयोजन पर चर्चा की है, जैसा कि पौधों से अच्छे फल पाने के लिए उसकी बेहतर देखरेख जरूरी होता है। उसी तरह से अपने देश के विकसित देश बनाने के लिए अमृत काल के दौरान पूरे माननीय मनोयोग से लगातार इस कार्यक्रम को अमल में लाना होगा।
I'm Surbhi Agrawal. I'm from IIM Shillong. It was really a great opportunity to come here and interact with the dignitaries here and students here on the topic of Viksit Bharat 2047. It is such an enlightening session to know what kind of nation we want in 2047, what we are looking forward to as a youth in a current situation, how the infrastructure needs to be developed and how we can achieve our goals toward the sustainability going forward. Also, what kind of opportunities that the students in a current age is looking forward to and what support they expect from the government so that they can build the nation that they desire from now onwards, 25 years down the line. So this is really a great platform to share and exchange the knowledge, and also maybe the efforts from now will give us a better future in 2047 where there will be more opportunities for the youngsters, there will be more infrastructure development and the support from the government to excel in our skills and develop and implement our knowledge and skills into the real life examples.